All right. So today we're going to do web app security. So go to samsclass.info and click web app security. And the first thing I want to do is just skip down to W600 because the Web Security Academy is fantastic, and you may very well want to spend the rest of the day or even the rest of the week inside here. So go to this project, and what you do here is you join the Academy. It's free for everybody, and it is wonderful, which is great. And so you just go to this page and sign up. You don't even need to prove that you're in a college or anything. And once you're in and you have an account, you'll see that there's a whole lot of puzzles to solve here. And then you have to have this product called Burp. This is the essential, the entire course, everything in here, you're learning how to use Burp, and it's funded by the manufacturer of the Burp product, but it really is that great. So let me show you Burp. Burp you install natively on whatever operating system you're using, Windows or Mac or Linux, and it runs here. And it launches you into some kind of startup panel here with features that are only available in the pay version. So I always ignore all this and click next. I'm only using the free version. The free version is perfectly fine for almost everything. And by the way, I think you can get like a free 90-day trial of the pay version if you want, but I just used the free one. So this is the Burp panel. Now, at first, you see there's a lot of tabs up here. It can seem like a lot of information, but the main thing you want is the proxy tab. The main function of Burp is to be a proxy, which means instead of your web browser going directly to the internet, it sends traffic through Burp so you can inspect it and modify it. So the other thing about Burp, which is a showstopper at first, by default, it blocks all traffic. I don't know why they made it start that way. You have to turn off intercept. So now intercept is off. Now traffic can go through. Now you can open a browser. It has a browser built into it, which is a Chromium version browser. And now you can go to websites in here. Like if you go to my website, samsclass.info, this will take you just like any other regular browser. There is a subtlety, though. Notice the HTTPS is crossed off. So if you click on that, it'll tell you what the problem is. This content is being provided proxied through Burp Suite. So it is not a real secure connection. Now, the way that works is Burp intercepts all the traffic and it makes a fake certificate for every website, which is signed by an untrusted authority, Portswigger, the manufacturers of Burp. So that's the problem. The certificate is not valid, and it's issued to my website by Portswigger, but Portswigger is not a trusted root certification authority. That's why it fails. So you can use HTTPS sites, but if you do, all the requests and replies are in Burp. So you can see every request and every reply that was made here. And I should be able to find, here's samsclass.info. Here's the main request. So if you click on that, you'll see the HTTP request here that requested my page. And here's the response that replied. And down here is the HTML in my page. And it has another request for all the images and all the other content on the page. So you can use this history to examine previous requests. But if you want to replay a request or change it, you can't change it here. What you have to do is use the other tabs. But the main thing we're going to do is use the repeater. You can right-click and send to repeater. Then it will highlight it so you can find it. And when you go there, it shows you that request, and now you can modify it. So you could change something. Like if there's going to be cookies set down here. I guess I'm not setting any in this thing. But anyway, you can modify it any way you want. You can just click and type in here, and then you can send this, and the response will appear here. And so this is the simplest technique, and it works for most of the web hacking challenges we're going to do, is to just get the traffic you want, send it through a repeater, and then modify it and repeat it from there. So that's the main process for this. And so there's a flag you get down here by finding a part of my page to get you into W600. After that, you'll have an account at Portswigger. And I want to go on and show you the first challenge there, so you see why you would bother with all this. So if you go to the Portswigger website, the place where you can see your account here. And once you're logged in, you can get into the Web Security Academy. Now, here is the only thing that annoys me. If you go to the is it right here? Here's learning progress showing how many of them you solved, but there's a way to see all labs. Yeah, all labs is what we care about here. And the only thing that annoys me about it is they're not in a logical order. They're not even alphabetical, and they don't even start with the easiest stuff and get harder. There's something called learning paths I haven't explored. So the first thing I want to show you is the easy stuff. SQL injection is not the easiest stuff. The easiest stuff is path traversal. So I search for path traversal down here. See, it's about halfway down, which is a little bit irritating, but you can't have everything with free product. And now there's labs to solve. I just want to show you how much fun this is. So you start the first lab here, path traversal simple case. So you click that thing, and it shows you a page that explains the lab and even has a solution. And then there's an access to lab button. The first thing I always do is open this in another tab, because when you start a lab, it takes like a minute or two to launch the lab because it's spinning up a Docker container just for you, to have a website for you to hack into that nobody else can see, and it'll only stay up for about half an hour. And they all look pretty much like this. They're like a shopping page with some images and some buttons. And so if you're an advanced student, you figure it out all by yourself. If you're a beginner, then you use the solution tab, which I think is great. That's what makes it a good training tool. So it contains a path traversal vulnerability in the display of product images. And to prove that you have it, you want to access this page. This is a page that's always present on Linux servers, and it is readable by all, but you're not supposed to be able to see it in a web page, the etched password file, etc password. So here's the solution, and I'm going to do this. You use Burp Suite to modify a request and change the file name to this. Now, I have to find a request that fetches a product image. Now, I just loaded this page. If I go back to Burp, and I look at the HTTP history tab, there's all kinds of stuff here. And I could hunt through this until I find part that loads an image, but I find that to be irritating and confusing. What I prefer to do is clear out all the old stuff. So I right-click, clear history. Yes. Now it's empty. Now I go and open just what I want. All I want to see is an image, so I'm going to right-click and open an image in a new tab. So instead of loading this page, which looks like about 50 or 100 requests, it's going to do one request to load an image. And you can see up here, it has a file name parameter in the URL. And that's what I'm going to modify. And in fact, I could do it without Burp, but I am going to do it with Burp. Now, here is a problem. I don't see the request here. That's because a lot of times Burp by default will hide images. I don't know why. If you want to see the images, you have to click up here and check images. That's a thing to be aware of. It hides some requests to try to clean things up. So now I can see here's the request that loaded that image. File name is 73.jpg. It did a request and it loaded the image. So I want to modify this. So I right-click and send it to the repeater. And in the repeater, instead of loading the image 73.jpg, I'm going to load ... etc password. And this is the path traversal vulnerability. This is a famous one. It's been around for decades. If your web server is not restricted by permissions to stay in the right folder, you can meander out of the folder and go to some other place you're not supposed to be, and it'll let you do it. So let's send that request, and it does get a response, and the response contains this stuff, which is the password file. So that completes this challenge, and it would give me points and say you won, because I managed to violate the security policy. I managed to find out something I was not authorized to see by modifying a parameter. And they're all going to be like this. You learn various vulnerabilities of websites, and you engage in attacks to see how they work. So I'm going to stop this recording.